Hello, everyone. Today we are talking about chapter 1.2, and the topic is order of operations. Your essential question is how do you write and evaluate expressions using order of operations? The first question on the left-hand column is what is a numerical expression? So a numerical expression is an expression that contains numbers and operations. To evaluate or find the value of a numerical expression, you're going to use a set of rules called the order of operations. So what are the order of operations? Well, you've generally learned this as PEMDAS. So it's PEMDAS stands for parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. Typically, you would solve these parentheses first and exponents. But when you get to multiplication or division, the one that you solve first depends on which operation you see first when you are going from left to right. So you're going to read the problem left to right. And if you see division first, you will solve division. If you see multiplication, you will do multiplication first. Same thing with addition and subtraction. These are interchangeable. So it's whichever one you see first when you are going from left to right in a problem. Okay, next slide is how can we use the order of operations? So we have some examples. Right here, example A is evaluate 12 minus 2 multiplied by 4. So if we're following your order of operations, multiplication comes before subtraction. So we're going to go ahead and multiply these first. So 2 by 4 gives me an 8. So now we have 12 minus 8, which is going to give me 4. Example B, same thing. We're going to use parentheses first. So inside these parentheses, I first have brackets so that we don't have two sets of parentheses. I have 4 plus 2, so I'm going to go ahead and solve that first. It gives me 6. Now we're still in these brackets or parentheses, so we're going to solve this. 6 by 5 is 30, and 60 divided by 30 is going to give me 2. So as long as we follow the order of operations correctly, you should arrive at 2. If you do something incorrectly, it will give you a different answer. So now we have three problems that you can go ahead and try, making sure that you're following the order of operations for these examples. Example 2, same thing, but with exponents. So we have our parentheses here. So we're going to get started in here. And then right away we see an exponent. So 2 to the third power is going to give us an 8. So we're going to rewrite the problem just to stay organized. I start off with the 30 divided by the 7 plus, and now instead of 2 to the third power, we have an 8. Close parenthesis, multiply this by 6. So we're going to go ahead and solve the parentheses first. According to PEMDAS, it's going to give us 15. And now I have 30 divided by 15 multiplied by 6. Now this is where I was mentioning that even though in PEMDAS it looks like the multiplication comes first, it's going to depend on which operation we see first, right? When you are reading the problem from left to right. So right here I can see I have division before multiplication. So I am going to do 30 divided by 15, which gives me 2. And then 2 multiplied by 6 is going to give me 12. Now, if we try to do this first, so if we try to, say, do the multiplication first, right? 15 by 6 is going to give me 90. And now I would end up with 30 divided by, and then we would have 90. Now we can see 30 divided by 90 would actually be 1/3 or 0.33333 instead of 12. So you can see that this right here is wrong. It's something that we shouldn't be doing, or else it's going to change our answer completely. Now, there's some problems down here that you can go ahead and try as well. As long as you are following order of operations, you should arrive at the correct answer. For example, this first one, we're going to have to evaluate 2 to the fourth power before we do anything else. And remember, 2 to the fourth power to be 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. So I arrive at, so if I do 22 minus 1, it's going to give me 21. Okay, make sure that you are following operations for the next 2. So let's say I see an exponent here, and you're going to do the exponent first before multiplying. Okay, here's some more examples that we can go ahead and look at. So we see in this example right here, we have a fraction, which, remember, fraction is just a division problem. So as we see in the steps right here, we're just gonna, if you would like to, just go ahead and rewrite, right, this fraction here. So I have 9 plus, and then in parentheses, since we're rewriting this, 8 minus 2, close parentheses, divided by 3. So I see that 8 minus 2 is 6, divided by 3 gives me 2, and then 9 plus 2 gives me 11. Notice that you did not have to rewrite this. You could have easily just solved it, just as you see it right here. So 8 minus 2 would have given us 6 over 3, and 6 divided by 3, well, that is just 2. So if I get rid of this here, I would have 9 plus this turned to 2, which would have just been 11. So you did not have to rewrite it. It's just if you could have, if it was appeared confusing. I would say at this point, go ahead and pause this video and try this problem right here. And when you are ready, go ahead and unpause it. I'll explain it, but you should end up at 0. So here's our problem. I have 10 minus 8, and then in parentheses, 13 plus 7, close parentheses, divided by 4 squared. Now you can see right here how you have the 8 right next to this parenthesis here. This is actually a distributive property, which we haven't talked about, but it's essentially just multiplication. So I'm going to go ahead and solve parentheses first. So in here I see 13 plus 7, and I'm rewriting my problem just to make everything look neater, right? So I have 10 minus the 8, and then in parentheses, 13 plus 7 is 20. I'm going to close the parentheses, divided by 4 squared. Next is going to be my exponent. So again, notice I didn't change anything from this step to this step. When I'm dealing with these first two, I'm just rewriting the problem. And then right here, I am dividing by 4 squared, which is 16. Again, following PEMDAS, now we're going to multiply, because if you go from left to right, we see multiplication first. So 8 by 20 gives us 160. That's why in this step you see the 160. And now we are going to divide according to PEMDAS. This right here will just give us 10. And then finish off the problem. 10 minus 10 will give me 0. So there are 3 more problems you can go ahead and try here to practice your order of operations. Okay, last problem is a little bit more difficult. It is modeling a real life scenario. So it says the diagram shows landing zones for skydivers. Zone 1 is for experts. The remaining space is divided in half and designated as zones 2 and 3 for tandem divers, which is when you fly with somebody strapped to your back and they're controlling the parachute. This is beginning skydivers. What is the area of zone 2? So we're looking for this area right here. And then it gives you an explanation of what you can use to find the area. So you can go ahead and look at how they solve this problem. I'm going to go ahead and start explaining it as well. So, okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to break off this section right here. So I'm looking, if this line wasn't here and all of this rectangle, right, this whole rectangle right here, I'm going to try to, oops, let's try this again. So I have this whole spot right here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and look for or find the area of this triangle, and then, or I'm sorry, this rectangle. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the area of this triangle right here, subtract it, and it will give me the area of zone 2 right here. So we need at least a basic understanding of area. Okay, let's see. Let's try to see the information, which information I have given. So I can see, well, if this is 20 yards, then I know this right here is 20 yards. If this is 20, then I also know that this little part is 20. So if I'm trying to find the area of this one right here, I know, let's see if I can line this up a little bit better. This right here, right, gives us 20. I'll just leave that there. All right, so to find the area of this rectangle, I'm going to go ahead and, all right, multiply the base times the height. So I'm going to go ahead and do 40 multiplied by 20. And then we can use an X. Let's go ahead and let's see if I can. Okay, and it's going to be a little off, but that's fine. Okay. So if I have 40 multiplied by 20, well, let's see here. I know 4 times 2 is going to give me 8. So I can go ahead and type an 8 here, and then I have 2 zeros that I'm just going to tag on the end of this. So the area of this rectangle would be 800 yards. Now, I can look for the area of this triangle right here, and subtract it from this 800, and it should give me the answer. So the area of a triangle, is actually 1/2 or 0.5 multiplied by the base multiplied by my height. Okay, so again, you can use either 1/2 or 0.5. I'm going to go ahead and look at the base of this triangle. The base of this triangle would be 20. Why? Because if this one is 20, then this is 20, and this one is 20 right here. So I'm going to have 20 multiplied by, now let's look at the height. I know the height is also 20 because this space right here gives me 20. So this is 20 yards, this is 20 yards. Therefore, this is 20 yards and this is 20 yards right here. All right, well, what that gives me is I have 0.5 multiplied by, and now 2 times 2 is 4, and then I'm going to add 2 zeros. So when you are multiplying by 0.5, you are essentially dividing by 2. So 400 times 0.5 would give me 200. And now to find the area of this of zone 2, I'm going to subtract from 800 the 200 right here. So I would have 800 minus 200, because remember I am taking off this base. I am taking off this triangle right here, so that I just have, I end it right here. I just want the area of zone 2. And if I subtract these, it's going to go ahead and give me 600. So, which is what they got right here. The area of zone 2 is 600 square yards. So if you look at their expression, right, they use squares. They just take the whole area minus the area of zone 1. So you can also use this, right, as well. I did it differently, but we got the same answer. And that is it for this. The only thing is left is your assignment. So let me know if you need any additional help. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording.